Welcome to Stadium Bets on Stadium, everybody. We're glad you're joining us. We got Colby, Nate, Ben, and Monty running the sticks. Boys, we are approaching kind of the tail end of the NFL season. We're finished up with college football. But boy, did we have another good weekend.
Yeah, fun week in the
Huge.
NFL. Pretty much everything hit. And, you have to like that, especially this late in the year. When it's a little bit difficult to handicap some of these games because we know what every team is. The lines are pretty sharp. Ton of injuries to go over, but we're able to navigate well and hopefully keep it going.
Yeah, we're feeling good. Colby, how are you feeling over there in your little corner of the room?
I don't speak of the. Oh, I don't even want to say it.
The past.
Yeah.
The past? You're
No, we don't
forward-looking,
talk about
looking to the future?
Good or bad bets.
What have you done for me lately? Kind of
Yeah,
guy.
very.
He's a
I
live
don't
in
like
the
to jinx
present.
anything.
Oh, I respect it. All right, well, that's good because we're looking towards the future.
Always.
And as of this recording, we're looking to the Saturday games, the Sunday games. We're talking some college football as well. And, of course, we have our best bets and our underdogs of the week. So let's go to the first slate of games that we wanted to look at, and that was the Saturday NFL games. It's a special weekend. Got NFL games on a Saturday. Nate wasn't very happy about that. I mean, when you saw that, I think you said, what are they doing?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the joke where
Which
it's
is about
like,
how upset Nate gets.
you have to tell your significant other, I have to watch football
Yeah,
on
for
Saturday
sure.
now.
I get that, for
along
sure.
with Sunday.
But we've been
And,
doing that. What's the difference?
But when it's like NFL on Saturday, it's like a little bit different because it's
More
like
important.
really they're going to take over our whole life instead of two different
Yeah,
governing bodies of the sport.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll manage.
Yeah, my significant other also says that. So let's go to the Saturday NFL bets. Let's start. We'll go around the room, talk about some of the bets we like from the 3 Saturday games going on in the NFL. Colby, we will start with you. What do you like?
I didn't like much, but what grabbed me was the Colts minus 2.5 against the Steelers. Now we know the Steelers, they're not serious. They're kind of like the Chargers that I always pick on every single week. I like this number. Both teams are coming off a loss, but one team is playing for more than the other, and I think the Colts are playing for more, trying to win the AFC South. They're one game behind the Jags, and I think this is a great spot for them.
Yeah, I'm getting on the Colts train with you. I like it. Colts minus 2.5. I think this is a game they can maybe even win by a touchdown. Now, Colts games are always kind of scary to bet on because there's so many weird things that happen with the Colts, especially this season, and Gardner Minshew throwing picks left and right sometimes.
Got 8.
He's got a lot of picks, but he does play better at home, so I will trust Gardner Minshew a little better at home than on the road. And we talked about the Steelers. I think they're a dead team walking at this point. They don't really even know who their quarterback is supposed to be. Mitch Trubisky, the fans were calling for his head after how he played last week, and George Pickens was looking not very good at all. He was yelling at teammates on the sidelines. Like it's a team that's a mess right now, and we really have never seen a Steelers team that's been this much of a mess in a while, so I'm not really sure how to expect them to respond. Yeah, really ever. So I'll take the Colts. I'll take them under a field goal. I like the spot, like you said. The Colts are kind of playing for something at this point. The Steelers, you could say maybe you're still playing for something, but I don't even know if they have the capability of living up to the moment.
I wrote that in my notes, and I could just feel Nate going, well, the Steelers.
All I'm going to say is, I know I don't really have a side I like in this game, but when the Steelers are always doubted, it's when you want to get on Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
They're weird. They're weird.
At this point, though, I don't know if they have the firepower.
So they're never really great in the big favor role, especially with the way their offense operates. And they just lost at home to the Cardinals and Patriots, 2 of the teams with the 3 of the worst records of the league. So now this seems like how everyone's out on the Steelers. This is the time to get on board. But yeah,
True.
I don't really want to do that with the Steelers, so I don't truly believe in them.
What bet do you like?
Let's go later in the night. The Detroit Lions, it's come down a little bit to -4. Like that a lot. I bet -4 early in the week on Detroit. I think this is a good buy low spot in Detroit. Didn't like Detroit last week, and a lot of the big reasons why was Jared Goff outdoors in cold weather against a Bears team that has defended him pretty well the last few times that they've played Chicago. This is a completely different situation. You're at home. You're in the dome. So no worry about the cold weather and issues there that he's historically had. And then the Broncos is their 3rd straight road game, short week also. And the Broncos have just relied so much in this, good stretch on turnovers. I know Goff has turned the ball over, but if he can keep the ball and, play a clean game, I really do think the Lions win this game by a touchdown. So Detroit -4 for Saturday night. One of my actually favorite bets of the week.
Ooh, interesting. Goff at home. It's hard to bet against Goff at home. -4 is a weird number too. So we also have 2 game previews that we wanted to get to for this weekend. We'll start with one of the bigger games of the weekend. Cowboys at the Bills in Buffalo. -1.5 right now. As of this recording is the line in favor of Buffalo. Total 50.5. Nate, we'll start with you. And let me just say, I think we're going to have a little bit more about this game later on in the show.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth in this line where it reopens. Bills -1.5 gets out to -2, but -2.5 some spots, like -140 on the money line. And then Wednesday, I guess there was a disagreement on that, and the Cowboys took some money to now we have a pretty reasonable spot to bet the Bills on the money line at -120. I'd play this all the way up to -130. The Cowboys are coming off 3 straight home wins where they were very comfortable in nice weather
Little Jerry World
against
action.
not good defenses in the
Plain and turf.
Commanders, the Seahawks, and last week the Eagles. And now they're going on the road for the first time in the month. And the last road game they played was against the Panthers, so that was a very soft, landing spot there. I think that it's a little bit of a different Cowboys outlook, and their offense is going to look a lot different and struggle a little bit in Buffalo. I know the Bills defense has had a lot of injuries, but this Bills team, even though they're 7-6, they're rated very highly. We saw last week they closed as under a field goal underdog in Kansas City. So the Bills are getting a lot of respect from the betting market still. It's a team I want to buy on as they try to, even with the Dolphins' loss on Monday night, maybe there's even a shot they could win the AFC East. And so they're still competing for a playoff spot and need these kind of games. I just think the Cowboys take a bit of a step back here. So Bills is actually my favorite bet of the week. But I like Buffalo.
A little teaser action, because we do have best bets coming up at the end of the show. Don't forget about that. That'll be an interesting segment. I agree with everything you said. Cowboys on the road, different team, especially in Buffalo with how aggressive that crowd gets, how cold it can get in Buffalo. I will talk about more about this, Colby. I don't know if you have any thoughts. Could be, two good teams.
Yeah, I guess I'll dabble in the Bills money line.
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
little Bills,
we're talking
maybe
cold
little
temps,
Bills.
but it's going to be in the 40s. But to us, that's not cold. To the Cowboys are just in their well domes and they're keeping warm in there.
Yeah.
They're playing on their
It's
turf
always
and
70
Jerry are well
degrees.
warm.
Ooh, so
It's going to be a
scary.
completely different game. And like Nate said, this is a different Bills team, and they're a team you do not want in the playoffs if they get hot, and they're getting hot at the right time. I love the Bills. Sorry,
Go
I love
Buffs.
the Bills.
All right, big game preview number 2, Ravens at the Jaguars. Two very interesting teams heading into this week. Ravens are laying the 3 points. Total is 42.5. Colby, will go right back to you for this game. Ravens at the Jags. What do you think?
I didn't like much, but I did like this. I like the Ravens team total over at 22.5.
Oh, look at that.
Ravens have gone over this number 7 of their last 8 games. The Jaguars are allowing 22.3 points per game. They've allowed 65 points in their last 2 games. That's against the Bengals and the Browns. I don't have to worry about anything. Just a couple scores. Come on, right? No, come on. The
100%.
Jags defense isn't all that.
I like it.
Yeah, the Jags defense has been super disappointing lately. It was pretty
Bad.
good early on in the season. Maybe it was a product of the offense that they were playing, but the last 2 weeks against Jake Browning and Joe Flacco, they really got picked apart. So I feel like Lamar Jackson
Interesting.
and the Ravens offense, who did play well last week, they were in a bye the week before, so they should be all systems go. And my bet in this game is the over. So I agree with what Colby said,
It's
but
the
the
same
over.
thing.
So and I because I also think the Jags could push the ball a little bit and score. Trevor Lawrence looked fine last week, which is pretty crazy. 6 days removed from a high ankle sprain, but I know the Jags offense has a lot of issues. They were down their 3rd string left tackle last week.
Yeah.
But the Jags I thought offensively weren't great. But it was at Cleveland, and everyone's been struggling at Cleveland this year. I think at home they can at least provide enough for this full game over to go. Even though it's Sunday Night Football, and apparently every game is under.
Yeah, well, we've been spending a little too much time with each other, because I like the team total.
Well, the team
over
total
for the
can go over
Ravens.
for me, and the others still hit.
I like the
Oh,
team
of course,
total over
of
for the
course.
Jaguars, so I'm going to take the over for the game as well, over 42.5. I think it's the obvious thing
over
to take it,
guys.
as Nate said. We don't trust the defenses for either of these teams.
Not to
It's
interrupt,
interesting
Ben. Just
'cause-
want to let you guys
Yeah,
know
no,
the
that's
over
fine. You can
people over
interrupt.
here.
It's not rude.
That the primetime overs or primetime unders are hitting at 70%. Just an FYI.
So we're going over then, obviously. I think the total's been dropping, which is crazy.
Yeah,
It's
it was
weird.
like 44.
I'll drop
Like
keep dropping.
70%.
We'll take
What
the
goes
over.
up must come down.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%
So
though.
100%. Kind of like Nate said, bad defenses. The offenses have been great. Ravens are 4th in points per play. The Jags over the last 3 games are top 10 in points per play. These are 2 good offenses meeting each other when their defenses are both bad. So I'll go over every time of the year. We got college football previews coming up next. We got college football bets for the weekend. We got some bowl games coming up next as well. That's all next on Stadium Bets. Welcome back to Stadium Bets. We got our NFL picks out of the way. Now it's time for some college football. Back to the bread and butter of things. We previewed the Rose Bowl game and we previewed the Sugar Bowl game. So that'll be fun. You can look at those videos on YouTube again. They're kind of popping off. Not to brag. People are talking. They love our Michigan.
We love
and
our
Alabama
6
bets.
viewers.
Yeah, we do. Well, it's like 2,000 plus now on YouTube. So we might be YouTube stars, boys. Let's start with a little Cotton Bowl preview, though. We got Missouri and Ohio State. This is December 30th in Arlington. Mizzou right now is a 2.5-point favorite. That total is 49. And if you haven't really been keeping up with the line movement for this game, it's been very interesting because Mizzou did not start as a favorite. They started as a pretty fairly big underdog in this game. So, Nate, tell the people why the line movement has been this way and kind of how they should bet it now that it's Mizzou as a 2.5-point favorite.
It's kind of hard to pre-record these bowl previews because the lines move so often whenever there's any kind of bit of news, whether it's transfer portal or a player opting out or maybe a assistant coach going somewhere that called plays or something impactful. I feel like we've kind of hit a plateau in this line where it's moved a lot, and it probably is not going to move again until this game is played on December 30th in Arlington, Texas. So New Year's Six Bowl, Ohio State opens -6.5 pretty much everywhere. And last Monday morning, I'm thinking, I like Mizzou in this game just because they're excited to be in this game. And Ohio State, after making the playoff last year, probably not that excited. So it's like 7 a.m. Monday morning, phone lights up, get a lot of texts saying Kyle McCord is in the transfer portal. I wake up, first thing I do, bet Mizzou +6.5. Then the line moves a little bit. Then a little bit later that Monday, Julian Fleming, who's wide receiver number 3, a former top recruit for Ohio State, he put his name in the portal, and that's a big deal because it's assumed Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to opt out of this game. And then like 12 other players on Ohio State went to the portal. And on the other side, everything from the Mizzou camp was, we're not having any opt-outs. We're not having that many transfers.
Man ball.
If you're not injured,
It is man ball.
like if you're not injured, everyone's playing in this game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of enthusiasm in terms of like ticket sales with Missouri fans wanting to go to Dallas for this game, and probably not as many for Ohio State, who usually are going to the Rose Bowl or a semifinal game. So going to the Cotton Bowl is not as exciting for them. So because of that and all this movement, positive for Mizzou, and so much of bowl betting is kind of looking at the motivation, who wants to be there, who's excited about this game, and who maybe is a little disappointed because they had bigger expectations, like Ohio State. So this is kind of the classic case where you have the motivation angles on the opposite sides, but also now you have to follow the transfer portal, you have to follow opt-outs, guys going to the draft and are foregoing the bowl game.
Yeah.
And because of all that, we have Mizzou as a favorite, and it's kind of trending to -3. So if this game was like full on, like, you know, both teams, like a regular season game, on a neutral field, Ohio State, I'd probably be like a 10-point favorite in this game. But with all the factors, and it's hard to quantify how like much motivation matters, but I think it's pretty severe here. And I guess my question for you guys, has the line moved too much? Are you interested in maybe Ohio State eventually because they still have backups who are very talented? Or is it just Mizzou all the way at really whatever price?
I'm going Mizzou because Ryan Day is going to be sleeping in his own bed even for this game. Is he even showing up? No, he's not showing up. Like,
he's looking for NFL
just you
teams.
saying that nobody's leaving and everyone is playing is good enough for me to bet this without looking at anything else other than that nobody's playing for Ohio State. What are they playing for? They don't want to be there. They're just in the playoffs. Cody Schrager, GOAT, Mizzou.
That was a good impression. And obviously, when I think this type of game, betting this game starts all the way back when they beat Kansas State on a field goal, and everyone just got super hyped about Mizzou. And I think that kind of effort and energy and enthusiasm around the program has moved throughout the whole season. And when you have that throughout the entire season, you still get up for the bowl game. You care about the bowl game a little bit more because it's going to be the capper to a really fun season for the fans and the players. And they really weren't. No, they weren't supposed to be in the position. They weren't supposed to be a top 10 this year. So they're going to have the motivation factor by a million. And in a situation like that, I'm still happy to take them under a field goal favorite. I mean, they could win by 6 or 10 points or whatnot. They could win by double digits against an Ohio State team that I think, you see the players are kind of done with it. Ryan Day might be done with it. The fans are done with it. I'll bet against that 10 times out of 10.
Definitely, and just kind of something to keep in mind in general when betting bowl games. And the last week we gave out some bowl bets, including some New Year's Six bowls where I was on Florida State, Colby was on Liberty, and those are kind of teams where we think there might be a little bit of a motivation edge for those two teams fading
Smaller
Oregon.
School, like
who,
not saying Mizzou's a small school, but the school that's usually not there.
Right, yeah.
Small
I
football
mean,
school.
last year Mizzou was playing in the Gasparilla Bowl, so the Con
Yeah.
Bowl
Now
a
they're in
little
the Cotton
bit,
Bowl. This
a
is
little
huge.
bit nicer, brighter lights, especially in
Yeah,
Dallas,
don't
where
disparage the Gasparilla Bowl.
there's a good amount of
Gasparilla.
there's a good amount of Mizzou alum in that area, so they should have the crowd advantage at Jerry World. That's Friday night in a few weeks from now.
Let's do our Saturday bets because we do have some bets for Saturday. There are some bowl games this weekend. Excitedly, we have 2 different bets from 3 people. How's that going to work out? We'll start with Nate with your first bet.
Yeah, I'll go. I guess I'm alone on an island here, but
Yeah, you
maybe I
are.
can convince you guys in Jacksonville State -3.
I already took their money line, so I'm in.
They're playing Louisiana in this game, and
Yeah.
Louisiana has kind of been a program not as good ever since Billy Napier left for Florida. So I think they're kind of seeing, the product of losing a head coach who recruited at a high level there. And Jacksonville State, just the way more motivated team. They were not supposed to be in a bowl game. They were ineligible because they made the jump from FCS to FBS this year. And the rule is you have to sit out postseason for 2 years.
Yep.
They even filed an appeal late in the season, kind of when James Madison was filing their appeal to try to play in the postseason and the Sun Belt title game, and they got denied, along with Jacksonville State, who got denied. So Jacksonville State, a team that I think is going to be really motivated because they got the opportunity to play in this game due to the fact that there was not enough 6-6 bowl teams. So it makes a lot of sense that they're going to show out well in this game. Kind of had a disappointing end of the season, which I believe may have been a bet we all liked on the show when they were playing New Mexico State. But I do think that they play well in this game Saturday at the Superdome in New Orleans in the R&L Carriers Dome or Carriers Bowl.
I have no idea, but what I do know is that Colby and I are writing a bet
Let's go.
together. And
I thought-
historically, that has not worked out. I think we've won our last
Wyoming.
couple duo
Wyoming.
bets. We have one. We know the West
This
Coast
gets
teams.
weird in Laramie.
So we're gonna go a little south of Wyoming.
Wait, tee it
We're
up,
gonna go to
tee it up, man, tee it
New
up,
Mexico
tee it up.
State. We like the Aggies, the best Aggies in the country this season, in my
Oh,
opinion.
yeah.
Why do we like the Aggies,
But
Colby?
they got this little guy at quarterback, Diego Pavia. Hopefully I said it right.
Our savior.
He's just a little grit monster. The
Oh,
dude's
he's the
like
best.
5'8", and he
Yeah.
gets it done.
Man ball.
Fresno State is just going in the wrong trajectory.
Where are they
They're
trending?
trending downward.
They're trending
They've lost their
down.
last 3 games, and
Yep.
they've only scored about over 17 points. I think it was 18, 17, 18. It's about a 17-ish points.
That's how that
Fresno
works.
cannot defend the run, and New Mexico State, is 12th on the ground, recording 200 plus yards per game on the ground. And then
Look at
they
that.
get this, man. Those little,
Yeah, what is
little
this?
chunk pass plays.
Oh, they love chunks. We love,
Love
chunks.
chunks.
You know what the other thing we love is? Where's this game being played?
Oh.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. Basically a home
It's a
game
home
for New
game.
Mexico State. Also, Fresno State, and you never wish this upon any team, but their head coach is going to be out with health issues. So hopefully he gets better, but they are not going to be with their normal head coach in a game like this. You combine that with the fact that they lost their last 3 games in a row, 8-4 in the season, where they probably should have maybe been a double-digit winning
Yeah.
team this year. I mean, what's the motivation? You lose 3 straight games going into the end of the season. You probably were looking for a better bowl game than this in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Basically an away game.
Jerry Kill and company, 10-win season. They're motivated. We talked about the motivation factor. Give me New Mexico State, -3.5. I gave this out last week, I think, right? At 2.5 or something like that.
You did.
Far away, I don't remember.
We love the Aggies. Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
I
yesterday.
love it.
And
Go New Mexico State,
a
baby.
Correction, Jacksonville State. They're in the New Orleans Bowl. It's sponsored by R&L Carriers.
There we go.
Oh,
They call it the
We
R&L
figured it
Carriers
out.
Bowl. It's the R&L Carriers
thank you, Nate.
New Orleans Bowl.
We got to get it all correct.
You
We
got to
love it.
know your bowl naming rights.
Yeah,
this
and the
time of
Ravens
year.
defense has been bad recently. I want to throw that in there. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we're dressing up. We got our best bets and our favorite underdogs. We've been hot. That's next. Welcome back to Stadium Bets. We got the costumes on. We got the dog gears. Colby's got the goggles. You got the vests. We're ready to go. We'll start with our underdogs of the week. Gentlemen, we've been hot in this segment. Let's keep it going for a 3rd straight week. Who are we starting with? Colby, it's all you, sir.
Yes, we are taking the Texans. We're back on the Texans bandwagon once
2
again.
weeks in a row.
Keep it down over there. The Titans are coming off a huge double-digit underdog victory over the Dolphins, while the Texans had an embarrassing loss to the Jets. I love the Texans here.
Bounce back.
Big ol' bounce back week. Let's go. Give me them.
I like it. I'm going to go right back to the same Chicago Bears and take the Chicago Bears money line against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. I think this team is rolling. Monty, don't shake your head. This team, I believe in the Bears now. I think they've got everything together. I think their defense has played top 5 over the last 3 games or so since the bye. They've looked pretty good defensively, and offensively, Justin Fields is still finding his feet under him, but at least he looks competent, and the offense has been able to move the ball. So I know the Browns defense is good, and I know the Bears are on the road, but I'll take them on the money line. I love it. Chicago Bears are still in the hunt. They're officially in the hunt graphics, so they're going to win this game.
Are you the same guy that said it's tough to win in Cleveland?
No, I don't think I've ever said that.
Roll back the tape.
It's tough to go to Cleveland, but it's not tough to win in Cleveland. All right, Nate, underdog.
Let's go Saturday, a second Saturday bet for the people. Take the Vikings on the money line. I think there's way too much respect in this number for Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. And we got some good news with the Vikings just now with Justin Jefferson saying he's going to play.
Yep.
He left his first game back in 2 months early, went to the hospital against the Raiders for precautionary reasons. He said he's going to play. But the real reason I like this game, Josh Dobbs, finally not the starter anymore for the Minnesota Vikings. Nick Mullins, who isn't great, but provides a little bit of a more passing threat against a Bengals defense who hasn't stopped anyone this season. So I like the Vikings a lot on Saturday.
Boys, it's time for the best bet of the weekend. We usually have 3 different best bets. This weekend is a little different.
Maybe
put them all 3 up at the same time because we already hit this bet once Sunday night hit. Boys, what are we taking? We will start with Nate.
Yeah, Bills money line. I gave all the reasons at the top of the show. If you want to rewatch this, whether you're listening to a podcast or watching this on YouTube. I think one thing that I didn't mention is Cowboys getting a lot of credit for the way they beat the Eagles. But you think about the spot the Eagles were in, coming off a gauntlet where they played the Chiefs, they played the Bills, they played the 49ers, and they were traveling to Dallas against a Cowboys team who had 3 extra days to rest. I wasn't surprised the Cowboys won that game big, and now they're getting, I think, a little bit too much credit against a very hungry Bills team.
Yeah, 100%. This is a Bills team that's hungry. They're ready to win. Josh Allen is playing great. I don't know if you've anything to add, Colby. Hopefully this doesn't backfire on us.
Everything that you guys have mentioned is in my notes. Thank you for stealing them. Giving out the reasons why I wanted to bet
Cowboys
the Bills.
on the road.
I am the reason we're betting the Bills. Thanks, guys. I'm just playing.
Are you?
I mean, I think I was
totally
first
kidding.
one to. I think I said sometime in the third quarter of the Sunday night game. Let's hope the Cowboys keep this up so that we can bet the Bills at under a field goal.
All right, that'll do it for us here at Stadium Bets. We appreciate you watching. Go Bills. Good luck this weekend.